Conflict between Israel and Hezbollah is escalating this hour with several attacks at Lebanon's southern border. Israeli media say a number of people have been injured after being hit by two anti-tank missiles in Upper Galilee in northern Israel. In a statement, Hezbollah says its fighters targeted Israeli soldiers directly, killing and wounding several of them. Lebanon is on edge after 2 days of coordinated attacks on communication devices that have killed 37 people. The country's Civil Aviation Authority has reacted by banning walkie-talkies and pagers on all flights. Hezbollah and the Lebanese government are blaming Israel for the attacks. Now, while the Israeli government has so far remained silent, there is increasing fear on the streets of Beirut.
Can we expect any good from Israel? Children are being killed. Their parents had small devices and they are detonated. Of course we're scared. My children, my siblings' children, all of us. Who can feel safe in the situation? We have 5,000 injured in just 2 days. This isn't a small matter. It's war.
I'm scared of my mobile phone. I carry it, but I'm afraid of it. This has become an international issue now. Israel and the US are behind these incidents, and we're the victims caught in the middle.
We've got two correspondents on this story. Imran Khan standing by for us in Beirut. First, we're going to go to Ali Hashim in Tar in southern Lebanon. Ali, there have been rocket attacks in the last couple of hours or so. Just tell us what's been going on.
Well, there have been several attacks today, at least for now. Hezbollah declared or claimed responsibility for 7 attacks. The first was the one you mentioned earlier in Al-Marj, Upper Galilee, where at least 8 Israeli soldiers are reported to have been injured. Now, the other attacks were across the 120-kilometer stretch, including this area where we are. Rockets were launched towards Israeli military positions, mainly anti-tank guided missiles. This is not new. But this is significant just after 48 hours of the situation on the border cooling down because of what's been happening inside Lebanon. The Israeli, or what's being allegedly said to be the Israeli attacks, the pager attacks and the walkie-talkie attacks that left more than 32 people killed. So what we're seeing now on the borders reflects the back to normal situation, the status quo that was before the grey zone operations, and of course preceding what Nasrallah is going to say today in his speech.
Ali, I can only imagine that it must be very difficult for the people of southern Lebanon who are, of course, being caught up in these attacks, and you and the teams have been reporting on what's been happening to them over the last few months. How are they reacting to this latest round of incidents that we've been seeing with regard particularly to the explosions in the communication devices?
Well, it depends. If it's the people on the borderline, there's no more people on the borderline. Most of them have left. We have more than 120,000 Lebanese who are right now internally displaced. However, when you get closer, where I'm standing right now, I'm 20 kilometers, literally 20 kilometers from the borderline. Here's the city of Tar. I can't say that the life is normal, but it's close to normal. People, this is a beach behind me. Maybe Raed can show us a picture of what's going on here. There are a few people still enjoying their lives, but it's not like before. It's not like how a September would look like here in Tyre. Fewer people, many are afraid, many are concerned. It's just like everyone right now in Lebanon, whereas the feeling of uncertainty, the feeling of not knowing what's coming next is overwhelming everyone. And this is just not only because of the past 48 hours, but because of the whole situation, whereas the escalation has been going on for the past months, as you've been saying, and also the amount of attacks is getting deeper and deeper from the Israeli side. It's clear to many that Hezbollah is trying to keep this front as a support front to Gaza, but at the end, it seems to Israel the main objective right now is to unlink these two fronts, either by getting this front to a war or forcing Hezbollah to evacuate this area where we are towards the Litani River, which is another 20 kilometers from here, and then keeping this area free of Hezbollah, which is like 40 kilometers.
Ali, thank you very much indeed. That's Ali Hashim talking to us from Tyre there. Lebanon's health minister says those behind the attacks on Tuesday and Wednesday must be brought to justice.
This is considered to be a war crime. The majority of the fallen victims were killed and injured in civilian areas, not on a battlefield. The government and the National Security Council are considering their own actions. A number of human rights organisations are also looking into it.
Imran Khan's joining us now from Beirut. So Ali was just describing that where he was, there didn't seem to be as significant a reaction as one might have expected where you are, of course, in Beirut. Just talk to us about the mood that there is on the streets of Beirut.
Well, people are very scared. You have to remember that when Hezbollah and Israel's war was contained to that contested border, people got used to that. They got used to the fact that it was happening far away from Beirut, and it became almost something that they were just seeing on the news. They weren't actually witnessing. So away from that border, life was completely normal. But what this attack did was bring it into Lebanon, not just into Lebanon, but in several places across Lebanon. Now, this means that people are now very scared, but they are dealing with this in the way many people across the world would do. There's a sort of dark humour going on. I've got many friends here in Lebanon. They're organising dinners and they're making jokes saying, well, if you come to dinner, please leave your mobile phone at home. They are very shocked about everything that has gone on, but they know that this was a different type of attack than they've seen before, and that this was, and this is a word that's being used time and time again, that this was a terrorist attack because it didn't just target Hezbollah leaders. It targeted people who were in marketplaces, doctors, medical workers. It targeted people who were at home, where some of those pages were, some of those walkie-talkies were. Children were injured in this attack, women also injured in this attack. So that really is why people are afraid, but they are dealing with it like people deal with dangerous situations across the world. They're dealing with it with this kind of sort of dark sense of humour and a sense of foreboding as to what might come next.
Imran, Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, is due to speak, and I think that's probably going to be within about an hour or so. Do we have any indication of what he's likely to say? Because, of course, a lot of people are paying attention now to the way that Hezbollah reacts to what's been happening.
Well, you have to remember two things here. Firstly, Hassan Nasrallah doesn't give live televised addresses. They are pre-recorded, and they're pre-recorded from a secret location. His security is super tight. No one actually knows where he is. He records these things and they come out on television. Now, normally, and this is an indication, you would get gatherings of hundreds of people watching on big screens his speeches. That isn't going to happen, clearly for security reasons. Now, is he going to refer to the walkie-talkie attacks? Because this speech was announced after the pager attack. So is the speech going to be up to date? Will it have been recorded in the last few hours? Also, what is he going to say about the revenge, the retribution? Is he going to set out a path? He won't give a timeline. They never do. Hezbollah never gives a timeline. They say that revenge will come at a time of our choosing. So there's going to be a lot of people here in Lebanon, not just supporters of Hezbollah, watching this speech to try and see what clues they can gather. What might Hezbollah's response be? Now, remember, just very quickly, Hezbollah has been under immense amount of criticism within Lebanon itself and within kind of the Shia parties within Lebanon. Remember that Hezbollah is a Shia organisation, and they're talking about what role Hezbollah should play. So that may well play into this as well.
Imran, thank you very much indeed. This is Imran Khan talking to us from Beirut. Yossi Beilin is the former Minister of Justice for Israel. He's joining us from Tel Aviv. So thank you very much indeed for being with us. Now, Israel hasn't commented in response to these attacks. What kind of impact would this have on relations between Israel and Lebanon?
Well, Israel and Lebanon are not enemies. We have never been enemies. I think that the problem is of course, Hezbollah, which is dominating Lebanon indirectly. And I think that many of the Lebanese citizens would not like to see them dominating the country and launching an unneeded war. I mean, the war with Israel now was decided by Hezbollah in order to support Hamas, which massacred Israelis on 7th of October last year. This war should and can be prevented. And innocent people should not be killed. For what? What is the target? Hezbollah is not going to eliminate Israel, and Israel is not going to eliminate Hezbollah. So at the end of the war, we will still, both of us will remain, but just many people on both sides will be killed. And then we will have a kind of an indirect agreement. So let's have this agreement now. We know what are the differences. What does Lebanon want from Israel? I think that it is possible to negotiate if we are speaking about some points in the border and end this story. Why do we need it?
Israel, as I said before, has not yet commented on whether or not it was connected with these attacks. If they were intended to send a message to Hezbollah, what do you think that message would have been?
I don't know. I don't know who did it. If my country did not admit doing it, I'm not the one who is going to speculate.
Forgive me for interrupting you, but I just want to ask you on that point then. If it wasn't Israel that was responsible for this, and as we do stress, Israel's not yet said anything in connection to this, who else would benefit from carrying out an attack like this on Hezbollah inside Lebanon, where civilians have been injured and killed?
Well, I assume that Hezbollah does have some enemies inside Lebanon and outside Lebanon.
So you're suggesting that this possibly could have happened from somebody inside Lebanon as opposed to Israel. OK, I want to move on just a little bit. Benjamin Netanyahu.
I'm not excluding this possibility. I'm not a spokesman for the government, and this is not what I said.
I understand.
I said that it should not be excluded.
Benjamin Netanyahu wants to return 100,000 Israelis back to their homes on the northern border. This is unlikely to happen, isn't it, whilst there's a conflict going on between Hezbollah and Israel. How likely is it, do you think, that Israel will start changing its position with regard to Hezbollah if it is urgent that these people are returned to their homes in the border, as Benjamin Netanyahu is determined they will be?
To sit together with the Lebanese through the Americans who are tirelessly working on an agreement and to strike a deal. The deal is known.
Yossi Beilin is former Minister of Justice for Israel. And sir, we appreciate you being with us on Al Jazeera. Thank you very much indeed.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.